alley smelled of sweat and gunpowder. Two rival gangs, the East Side Kings and the Shadow Crew, stood locked in a standoff, fingers twitching over triggers, eyes hard with hate. Jamal King J. Patterson spat onto the pavement, his jaw tight as he raised his piece. Across from him, Marcus Shadow Barnes tilted his head, smirking like he had already won. "You always talking about running the city," Shadow sneered, stepping closer. "Guess tonight we see who really on top." The alley stretched quiet except for the shifting of feet, the creak of leather gloves tightening around pistol grips. Then, a flash, not from a gun, not from streetlights. A blinding, soundless burst of white light swallowed the alley, devouring shadows and flesh alike. Jamal's vision filled with fire, his stomach twisted, and suddenly, he wasn't in the city anymore. The weight of the ground hit Jamal's chest hard, dirt in his mouth, the sun too bright above him. His ears rang. He pushed himself up, coughing, shaking his head. The pavement was gone, the stench of smoke and gas replaced by the earthy musk of damp cotton and sweat. To his right, Shadow groaned, rubbing the back of his neck. "Yo, what the—" Then they saw them. Men, women, children, bent under the weight of baskets, backs lashed raw, chains glinting in the sunlight. A whip cracked and a man fell to his knees. The overseer standing above him grinned, a long scar cutting across his cheek. "Get up, boy." The man didn't move, didn't speak. The overseer lifted his whip again. Jamal's breath caught. His fingers twitched toward his waistband, but his gun was gone. Shadow's mouth had fallen open, his fingers digging into his scalp. Nah, man, this ain't right. We ain't." A girl's scream cut through the field, sharp as broken glass. Jamal and Shadow turned in time to see her ripped away from an older woman's grasp, her arms flailing, tears streaking her dirt-covered face. She looked like Shadow's little sister. Shadow's breath came hard and fast. He clenched his fist, stepping forward. "Hey!" The overseer snapped his head toward them. His gaze dragged over their modern hoodies, sneakers, jeans. His lip curled. "Who in hell are you boys supposed to be?" Jamal didn't have an answer, but his fists curled, and he swung. The punch cracked against the overseer's jaw, sending him stumbling backward. The field fell into stunned silence. Jamal shook out his hand, stepping in front of the kneeling man. "Touch her again, and I'll break you." Shadow stepped beside him, fists clenched. The enslaved people stared at the two men in strange clothing, standing before them, challenging the power that had ruled their world without question. The overseer's gaze darkened, and then he pulled a pistol from his hip. The gunfire rang out before they could move. Jamal felt the bullet rip through his side, sending him to his knees. Shadow lunged forward, tackling the overseer, wrestling for control. The slaves erupted into action, attacking the plantation guards with whatever they could find. Jamal, gripping his bleeding side, watched as Shadow fought like a man possessed. The two rival gang leaders had spent their whole lives trying to kill each other, but here, in the fields of history, they fought as brothers. Jamal struggled to his feet, ignoring the pain, ignoring the weakness in his limbs. He saw Shadow go down, a gunshot tearing into his back. "No!" Jamal stumbled forward, catching him before he hit the dirt. Shadow gasped, blood bubbling at his lips, his fingers clutching Jamal's hoodie. "Ain't this something?" he rasped. Jamal swallowed, his vision blurring. "Yeah," he whispered. Shadow coughed, chuckling. "Guess we finally on the same side, huh?" Jamal tightened his grip. "Yeah, bro, we are." They both collapsed, their bodies too weak to fight anymore. As their vision faded, the last thing they saw was the enslaved people rising, breaking their chains, running into battle. And then darkness. A cool breeze brushed against Jamal's face. His eyes fluttered open. He wasn't in the fields anymore. He wasn't in the alley. He was somewhere else, somewhere outside of time, outside of everything. And standing before him was a young man, no older than 25, with dark skin, fierce eyes, and a quiet strength that seemed almost divine. "You did well," the man said. Jamal sat up, his chest aching. He turned his head. Shadow was beside him, stirring. Yo, who the hell is that? Shadow muttered. The man smiled. My name is Nat. Jamal's breath caught. Nat Turner? The man nodded. And you, my brothers, have given your lives for something greater than yourselves. Jamal swallowed hard. Did we change anything? Nat Turner's eyes burned with something unreadable. The past is written, but the future is still yours. Jamal felt warmth spread through his chest, not pain, but something like peace. Shadow exhaled beside him, shaking his head. Ain't that something? He muttered. Nat Turner extended his hands to them. Come, you have more to learn? Jamal and Shadow exchanged a look. Then they took his hands, and together they stepped forward into the light. Epilogue, the future remembers. In their city, back in their time, a mural appeared overnight. No one knew who painted it. It showed two men standing side by side, dressed in modern streetwear, but with the fierce eyes of warriors. Beneath them, the words, Brothers in Blood, Brothers in Freedom. And on that day, in a place where rival gangs once ruled, the streets fell silent. Because sometimes history does not forget, and not